Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to do a video here on hammers, and in particular, titanium hammers. And I picked up this Vanquish one not too long ago, and I've given it a couple rounds to see how it works, and I wanted to review it here on this channel. So it's the Vanquish part number 0536, and it is an 11-ounce hammer. And some of you guys might be, well, don't they typically come in 17 or 20, 27? Yes, they typically come heavier, but the advantage of titanium is you get a hammer for much lighter and potentially more striking power. So, and also it mentions here shock absorbing. There is a difference in the shock absorption, and we'll talk about that a little bit as I drive a couple of nails in to show you what this hammer looks like and what it does. And on the back here, it's worth noting that, again, anti-vibration, but it says here on their literature that it drives like a 28 ounce hammer. That might be a little bit of a stretch. I've got a couple 20s here. We'll try them out. We'll see how well it drives compared to those. But I would say that might be a little bit of a stretch for a 28 ounce hammer. And then it says here it's a forged one-piece titanium construction. So we'll take a look at how that looks as a forging. I wonder if it's 100% titanium or are there going to be some alloys in there? And I think there's some alloys mixed in with this titanium for this forging. So, and it's also worth noting that this is made in China. So, anyways, we're going to take a look at this real quick. Here is the hammer. As far as the handle, it is a two-piece rubber overmold. This is actually, well, it's a rubber overmold. This is more of a plastic here. A little bit harder. They did it in white. The orange is definitely a nice pliable. You see my fingernail there. A nice pliable rubber overmold. You can see there's some contours to it. This is ideally where your thumb is going to fit if you like to put your thumb on the back. That does give you a little place to set it in there. And there is some notching in there for your hand. And there is some finite texture, if you could see here, on parts of the handle that increase your grip. And you can tell here too, I'll turn it sideways, there is a nice little curvature and taper down to hold your hand in place as you're holding onto this. So ideally if you're at the butt base here, you get a pretty good hold as it starts to thicken back out a little bit. See here, so it does have a nice ergonomic feel to it. Now it has a gloss coating over the top of it. This is going to be your natural titanium underneath finish that's been painted over. They did leave essentially a stamp forging inside there, or molding. And then up here, this is actually a piece of rubber. I don't know why this is really up here. Maybe that's to dampen, but that's going to be very minimal dampening. That can be removed if needs be. And they did bring some added material here to increase the strength of the claw. So finish here is pretty decent. You see driven a couple of a couple of nails. Obviously the finish is starting to break loose, but it's worth noting that face is not getting beat up at all. It's just that clear coat that's coming off of it. And then at the top, I'll give you guys a little bit better look. This is where you're going to have the ability to put your nail in the top and start your nails. So you set it inside there. It's obviously sets against the back here. There's the magnet in the middle. It's a decent sized magnet. That's fair enough for tension. And then you let your nail sit inside there. And so as you're starting off on a project, and some guys like to use these, some guys don't, but you just give it a good little whack and it starts it right off. And you go from there and you can pound that in. So, and then the claw, let's check out the claw, how well that's finished. How straight that is. We'll try to get a good angle for you guys. It actually looks pretty decent. And it comes all the way back in here at a nice sharp finish, which for some of those smaller nails, that's actually really nice to have. And it widens up. And then when you get in those tight places, you want this to be fairly sharp. And that is pretty even on both sides. So I'd say all in all, pretty decent job as far as the quality coming out of China for this hammer. Now to put that into comparison, here's an anti-vib 20-ounce hammer that I've had for many years and used. And you can see that face is, yeah, it's starting to get beat up a little bit. But, and same idea, it has the magnet and the ability to put your nail in there and to drive in your nails. So, and then it's worth noting when holding this, the weight is much more centralized in the front of the head. So you're definitely getting that motivation at the front, but you're also having to give a fair amount of pressure in your hand to keep it or return it as you're hammering. So it is head heavy in comparison to this hammer. It is much lighter, much more versatile in your hand. And it is only slightly heavier, I feel like, at the head here than in the handle. So let's give this a couple tries and see. I'm not going to do the pre-start claw. We'll just go ahead and give it a quick little tap, and we'll just drive this in with the Vanquish titanium hammer first, and we'll see just how well that drives. So we got a nice little start there, and then we'll see. 1 hit, 2 hit. I probably could do that easily in 2 hits, but in that case, I kind of messed up. Let's give it a shot now. Same idea. We'll just move it over a little bit. And this is going to be with Bostitch 20-ounce hammer. Give it a good little start. 2, got that one sunk in there just fine. Let's give that just one more try with the titanium. It just feels a little bit different, more like getting used to the way that feels in the hand. It feels great, honestly. I do wish that the head protruded just a little bit further, because when you put this up side by side with the traditional hammers, see how much difference there is? These set out about another 1/4 inch, so I feel like maybe they could have pushed that out a 1/4 inch. But I don't hate the way it works. It keeps you very close to the material that you're hammering in on. So let's give it a nice little shot. 2 hits. So that worked out just fine with 2 hits. So you're talking about an 11-ounce hammer versus a 20-ounce hammer. Almost double the weight. And this titanium hammer did the same thing. I will also note that as you're hitting, especially as you're finalizing that last hit and driving into the wood, you do get vibration back up through the handle, even though these are anti-vibration handles. The titanium, you do not get that vibration. So that is a very interesting feeling that you get from a hammer, to get the same amount of workforce hammering in a nail, not getting any of that vibration. I would say you'd have to experience it for yourself. I thoroughly enjoy swinging this hammer over a traditional steel hammer. So you might be asking yourself, okay, well, titanium hammer, what's it going to cost me? What's it going to set me back? Now, there are some other name brands out there that are going to cost you $200-300 easy for this hammer. Vanquish, I actually picked this up on a sale that popped up. I think I got it for $60 or $70. Currently, right now on Amazon, if you want to pick it up, that's where I picked mine up at, was I think it's roughly about $80 to $90 for this hammer. So if you want a quality hammer that does it all, and we can actually try pulling out here real quick a couple nails too, because that's always nice to see, is how well you get in a nail and pull it out. That worked out pretty good. We'll try it with a traditional steel as well, so you guys see the difference. The claws are shorter on this, and you may like shorter claws, but the leverage, that wasn't even in there. The leverage is a little bit less. I can do a little bit more work, whereas you get that longer claw on the back side, like with this one. Right, you can see the claws side to side. You gain a little bit longer claw, and you can see on there you go. You just get that little bit more leverage. So, yeah, save some money. I would say get something like this, and the Vanquish isn't the only one that makes them, but of the ones I did my research on, this seems like actually a really good solution to getting a quality hammer that's not going to fatigue your arm and your hand, and you could run a lot more nails quicker and without all that extra mass. So anyways, guys, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for watching. We'll keep these videos coming your way. We'll talk to you soon.